Okay, welcome students to this week's philosophy appetizer. And this time, our lesson comes from the world of archaeology.
This is Dr. John Wilson, Professor Emeritus at Pepperdine University. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to attend a lecture by him here in Irvine, California. It was a lecture on archaeology, and I was fascinated by his story about the excavation of ancient Caesarea Philippi. And here's a story from a newspaper back in February of 2001. It says, it's the final day of an excavating season in ancient Caesarea Philippi in northern Israel. But for a small group of graduate students, the adventure was just beginning. After weeks of digging, moving rocks, and sweating over soil vibrating with more than 2,000 years of history, Pepperdine students and others from across the globe were sweeping and cleaning, readying for the jaunt back to comfy beds and favorite coffees. Perhaps it was a hunch. Instead of sweeping, students from Greece initiated their own experiment and continued to dig just beyond their designated square. Beneath the surface, an ancient passage was discovered that would prove a powerful link between 21st century peoples and royalty from the fiery days of Roman Palestine. The passage ultimately led to the immense palace of Agrippa II, grandson of Herod the Great, believed to have ruled the principality most of the second half of the first century AD. The great palace, still being excavated, emerged as a key focus of the expedition for the last 6 years, confirming that some of the greatest discoveries are achieved by accident. Like I said, I got to see Dr. Wilson in person and hear him teach about this excavation. But let me tell you about the rest of the story.
So, a few years ago, I actually got to go to a class taught by Dr. Wilson. So, I got to meet him in person. And let me tell you this story about this excavation, the way he told it to us in that class, all right? And again, I don't know, this is what I remember, but the story went like this. Near the final days, or perhaps on the final day of the excavations, when they were going to start getting ready to, pick up and leave, some of the students who were there, some of the young archaeologists were playing soccer or something like that, and the ball fell, kind of like outside the boundaries of their excavation site, and kind of like almost disappeared into a crack on the ground there. So they decided to go in and check it out, put out a light, and to make a long story short, what they discovered was that underneath all of the excavation they had done was more ruins. And so as they went in, they realized that everything they had been excavating up to that point was actually the roof of a whole structure, kind of like a mall, so to speak. And underneath there were columns, and there were temple stuff, and it was like the whole area they had excavated was the roof of a major mall. And so I think the interesting thing is that something that may have been just an accident when they discovered it turned out to be a major part of their excavation. And so my point is that many great discoveries in history happened by accident, but the accident happened to someone who was prepared. And I think that's the lesson I want to share with you is be prepared. Success happens when opportunity meets preparation. And that is my lesson for you. Thank you.